Early in 1968, we announced a humanitarian objective. An auditing session where Scientology processing is administered cannot be continually disturbed or held in a noisy, misemotional place. Therefore, the upsets and conflicts and intolerance of the planet would prevent or slow progress in trying to audit the world. That's obvious. So we have a humanitarian objective. You cannot live sanely in a world in which nations behave like criminals to their peoples and toward each other. In a world where pressure groups stamp out all rights in order to advance their own. Only to some small extent, does the individual have any rights or justice. Therefore, by defending the individual or group against injustice and oppression, and by advancing the cause of human rights, great progress can be made toward the humanitarian objective. And you can help. It is easier than it looks. Now, what these fellows are trying to do, apparently, is degrade the West. And if they degrade the West far enough, of course, the West can be conquered. That's fairly obvious. So we come along, and they don't quite know what to make out of us, except it becomes obvious to them that we help people and improve people and give people hope, and this cuts straight across any program involved with degrading the West. Now, for public statement, what we're trying to do then is to revitalize the West. Now, you should score that down as the statement which should be made over and over again. What are Scientology organizations trying to do? They're trying to revitalize the West. And how are they trying to revitalize the West? Well, they're trying to revitalize the West by putting forward and insisting upon human rights. And the biggest abuse of human rights which exists today is, of course, the psychiatric violations of human rights and their abuse to patients. Now, this is our job because we are getting increasing numbers of people who have been messed up by psychiatry and in institutions, and some very, very, very ugly stories. Not a few, but many, many, many are coming through into our lines now to such a degree that it is no exaggeration to say that they run psychiatric death camps. I know that sounds very rabble-roused, but the truth of the matter is they are death camps. And the general attack line is along the lines of human rights. Human rights. Now, I'll give you a clue now how this is handled. Somebody comes up to you, he's a hostile person, he's hostile to Scientology. And he says to you, well, these Scientology, and you say, why are you against human rights? And then, if you know anything about human rights, like the Universal Declaration of Human Rights, United Nations, that sort of thing, if you know something about this subject, you just follow it right straight up. Total attack. In other words, you don't defend Scientology. You just simply attack along this line of human rights. Somebody else comes along, hostile. He says something to you about this, or he says something in press or in a group or something like this, and something about treatment or something in Scientology, and you should come back at him, why are you in favor of psychiatric death camps? Why are you in favor of psychiatric brutality to human beings? And just let him try to handle that ball. And use these two things. Now, the hostile person, the hostile press line, for instance, a newspaper writes an article on the subject of how bad Scientology is. Well, any Scientologist reading it should at once write the newspaper, why are you in favor of psychiatric death camps? Why are you criticizing Scientology? Why are you in favor of psychiatric death camps? And we will make some progress on this. Now, actually, what will happen really, is each time Scientology is attacked, we will build into the society, if all of you do this, we will build into the society an actual stimulus response mechanism. Whereas an attack on Scientology is actually an attack on human rights, and a person making such an attack is in favor of psychiatric death camps. And if this is the way you handle this, and handle it consistently, even though you get bored with it and want something else to to shoot them with, this will produce a fantastic effect. In a world where pressure groups stamp out all rights in order to advance their own.